Nice.
Take your
LVQ
time there.
cool? All right, let's do it.
All right. Fixing my setting here.
All right, we're live.
All right, you guys, welcome back to another Light It Up webinar. We are super excited to have with us for round two, Jeff Pfitzer. Jeff did a recent episode of the Light It Up podcast with us. And because we had such a great turnout and a great amount of people asking questions and inquiring about how to use social media in their business, we thought, of course, we had no other option but to have you back and just to dive in a little bit deeper. The webinar version of our platform gives us the opportunity to sort of because we are live on different platforms to get some engagement and get some questions and just make it a little bit more interactive. So thanks so much for willing to spend some more time with us today.
Absolutely, man. And to your audience, bring it on. Let's engage. Let's have some questions. Let's go.
Good stuff. Good. So, and what's funny is a lot of our subscribers, I really do like the title we went with today about making social media, your main prospecting focus, because a lot of our subscribers, did either start or do spend a lot of their time, with things that are probably less social media focused, right? So we have a lot of people here who are, pounding the phones, especially on the first of the month. Today is November 1st. They're pounding the phone, calling those expireds. We have a lot of people who subscribe that, focus on for sale by owners, people who focus on probates. So we love diving deeper into social media. So, again, without any further ado, we'll let you take the stage here.
Yeah, man. I mean, when we talk about that topic, I'm very passionate about it for a lot of reasons. One, obviously, because I'm a practitioner and it's worked really, really well for me. But, part of the reason why I went deep on this was because everything that you just described, I hated doing. I was good at it. I mean, it's not that it wasn't. When you're eloquent, you're eloquent. I can spar with anybody and sell anything. I just didn't like it. I just felt slimy about it. I don't like, annoying people. And I think, and this was, I'm talking about 10, 15 years ago. It's gotten worse. In other words, do not call this, do not text this, unsubscribes. Like the way to get out of having to talk to salespeople is getting easier. And so when I stumbled upon social as a way to grow my business and my phone started to ring, I was like, damn, like this is the ticket. And so not to tell anybody who's listening that you're going to stop doing all of those things that you just described or any of that stuff, even door knocking, which is probably the most invasive thing we can do, because it's all very complementary to a social strategy. It makes doing those things easier because now people will start to recognize you and it kind of brings it together and they're less, they don't feel as invaded of their privacy. And so, I think understanding that the reason why social doesn't work probably for you is because you treat social like your consumer does as your entertainment, right? And I know many of us, even myself included sometimes, as intentional as I am with social is really good at stirring my attention and taking it away from where it should have been, right? And so I open it up and there's a Frenchie doing something funny, and before you know it, I'm scrolling. And I'm like, damn, like it got me again. And so I think that's a really important piece of this is not just committing to it and doing it and creating content and doing all the things, but really putting blinders on to what's around you and focusing in when you open up that social media app to say, I'm going to go here for what I intended to go here for. And I'm going to use it as a weapon, as a tool, as a prospecting tool.
Yeah. Right. And I think it's important to go a little bit deeper on what you said there. It's another form of prospecting. And it's a lot of, name on brains, so that when you do call people over the phone, whether it's expireds, whether it's for sale by owners, whether it's even just calling people in your sphere or your past clients, your name is that much more top of mind when you do pop up on social. Is that fair to say?
Credibility. It's credibility.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
And this might be getting way ahead of ourselves here, but I'm going to give you an example, because I've been thinking about this with my social strategies. And I think we talked a little bit about last time about how, how my TikTok is, it was built around a geographical area by accident, by the way, but it's grown and it's working. I've now it's on all channels. Like I've divided and conquered, and as I've been thinking about how I'm going to use it as a weapon for my business, I don't know that I'm going to actually market very hard on my social channels, because I've created this brand and this identity and this influence as a result of being the aggregator of this community and entertaining people and providing useful information and news and events and all the things and highlighting local businesses. And so I'm wrestling with the idea of, do I shift and market harder, or do I just use the influence with my other strategies? So for example, like we're going to do like voicemail drops. And you've gotten these voicemails before. They're usually horrible. They sound like they're recorded, because I get them from agents, and I'm just rolling my eyes when I get them. But I
got one from an agent last year on Christmas, literally Christmas morning.
Oh God, what can you say that wouldn't annoy somebody there? But so here's what I'm thinking about doing is using that influence to do a voicemail drop and say something to the effect of, "Hey, it's Jeff Pfitzer with Lake of the Ozarks Lifestyle. If you already know who I am and follow me, thank you so much for following. If you don't know who I am, here's where you can follow me." And then following that up with, "Hey, we're in real estate. If something to the effect of, when you think about selling, do you want to get the most attention on your property?" And so it's like that. I don't have the message perfectly articulated yet, but lead in with, "It's me. If you know me, you're going to already feel special. Like, oh God, I'm getting a call from the guy that I'm always watching his videos. If you don't know me, I'm going to create intrigue to go check me out and gain more followers. Then I'm going to go and give them something about real estate and kind of educate them. Like, have you ever thought about this? Like, can you hire an agent?
Yeah.
Who do you want to hire?" And so I think we're going to attack it that way. The same thing with mailers. We're going to QR code it, put my face on it, probably put the logo on it, something recognizable, but with the first intent of driving more people to our socials, and then just subtly reminding this is what we do, and kind of teaching them, like, did you think about attention as the primary reason why you hire an agent? And kind of making them think about it. And so anyways, it probably is like going from 0 to 100 right too quick, but now we can kind of go talk about it somewhere in between.
Yeah.
No,
but what you said about social proof is so true. I never got to experience that until recently. I had a guy I called, and he was supposed to be like a flip, and he wouldn't give me an appointment. So I figured he was doing this with everybody. So then I was like, I'm going to be in the area. I'll stop by at 2:00. I kind of forced myself in. I go to the house, and I have a contract to purchase in there.
We're aggressive in New Jersey, Jeff.
Yeah. So I get there, and I knock on the door. I said, "Hey man, come in." And he's just like, I go inside the house. At the end of like the whole conversation, I'm like, "All right, here's the numbers that we're willing to offer. If we can come to an agreement today, will you sign?" And he's like, "Is this some kind of scam?" I'm like, "Some kind of scam? Why don't you Google my name?" He Googles my name, the podcast comes up, and he's like, "Oh, that's really that. Oh, that's neat. Oh, wow. Oh, this guy. Oh, that guy looks familiar." And he's like, "Google my name. Google my name." He used to be a pro boxer. And then he's just like, yeah, that's really cool. And then he's just signing away. And then I'm like, this is fantastic. So it definitely works, as you're either going to create your own story that people are going to follow, or they're going to assume that you're the rest of the herd and say you're up to no good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly it. And you actually bring up a really good point. If somebody can Google your name and find a bunch of content, that's valuable. And so we should rewind the entire strategy to like focus on building a library of content, because actually it's a great point. Google is now really putting social towards the top of all search, not just YouTube. I mean, you go there, it's LinkedIn, it's Instagram, it's all of them. And, obviously, websites don't carry the weight that they used to. And now it is becoming more socially driven. And so if there's no other reason to do this, if you're an old school agent and you just don't like social is probably more powerful now than that website that you spent thousands of dollars having built, and now nobody's going to them anymore. And so it's like, you want to show up higher on Google searches, create more content, and it works.
Yeah.
Let me challenge you just for a second, just because I'm sure there's people out there, some of those old school people who say, well, you know what, Jeff, if I do things like, if I'm just posting on social and I'm waiting for people to call me, then that's not really that proactive, or maybe it's a little bit more of a passive approach. How would you respond to that? Like, how do you make social proactive?
Yeah. Well, you got to understand, go back to the psychology conversation that we probably had in the last one, which is, first of all, understanding why people are there in the first place. And that's the mistake that our industry makes is, we decided at some point that it was a good idea to make social media business media, and that's never changed. Like, the way social media works has never changed. It's a place that people go to connect. It's a place that people go to kill time, to be entertained, all those things. And so if you think you're going to use social as this just immediate lead machine, you're not. But the truth is, neither is anything else that you prospect in. And that other stuff is going to be a hell of a lot more painful along the way. So it's not that social is going to just automatically change your life overnight and become the only prospecting tool that you use. It's going to become it's going to be complementary in the beginning. If you do it correctly and consistently for a number of years, it will replace everything. You'll throw everything in the trash because you won't need to, and frankly, you won't want to, because it's the attraction game. So, I mean, to answer your question more directly, though, the trick to social is building the audience, getting people engaged. And why we fail at social is because of those reasons I described, which is you run to social to sell stuff. And
just listed, just sold posts.
Yeah. All of the above. Monday market updates. Right now, it's the NAR. It's the NAR verdict. It's next. It's going to be Zillow buying FUB. It's all stuff that our consumers don't care about.
Right.
And so, but here's the deal. You guys opened up social today, and every second or third post yesterday was the NAR verdict. Today and tomorrow, it's going to be Zillow buying FUB, because the algorithm understands who we are. I guarantee you, your consumer, homeowners, the ones not in real estate, are not seeing any of this stuff. And even if they did, they could care less. It has zero impact on them. They don't care. But we see it as agents, and we get this FOMO, like, oh shit, the agent at the office down the street posted it, I got to post it. But we don't even stop we don't think about what benefit does this bring us. So unless your customer avatar is real estate agents, you're selling something to real estate agents, you're a recruiter, which is a small percentage of our industry, they should be talking about it. But you, as an agent who sells homes and helps buyers buy homes, you shouldn't be posting about that. It doesn't do your audience any good. It doesn't do your brand or your algorithm any good. It's actually hurting it.
Right. Yeah. So if the average agent, or not average agent, but the majority of agents on here are watching this to figure out how to bring social into their real estate business or their mortgage business, would you say the first step is figuring out who your customer avatar is, which is mostly going to be, of course, buyers and sellers, and making sure that all of your media either or content is based on, answering questions that they may have, that sort of thing, and also making sure that you're I think being natural too, and just being, sharing with them like your lifestyle, your process, your content, your education. Fair enough.
Yeah. Except what you said there, when you said bringing them, I don't know if you said bringing them value, but you said answering their questions. And so I know where the agent's mindset goes there. It goes to real estate specific questions, which, is potentially useful where it's needed. But again, your consumer, those homeowners, did not open up the Instagram app today, the Facebook app today, thinking to themselves, I really need to have this question discussed about rates, or I really need to discuss
how much
home
are closing
inspections.
costs. Yes.
It's I don't even know where this came from, to be honest with you. I think it's just because, again, we at some point in time we thought we have to talk about our business, but we never actually stopped to understand, the science behind social. And so, going back to John, your original question, which is how do I really use it to source business? You have to understand that the first part of that process is getting their attention and getting them engaged. And if you don't get them engaging on your content, and, I open up an agent social and it's all these just listed, just sold, Monday market update, NAR stuff. And it's 1 like, it's 2 likes, it's 5 likes, it's no likes, which is common. You are completely wasting your time on social. Every time you post something, it's not showing up. Clearly, it's proving that point. And so until you can figure out how to get more consistent engagement on your content, the algorithm is looking at you as something that people aren't interested in. And you have to remember the purpose of each app. The purpose of each app is to get people there and keep them there. So the app is going to look at you as a detriment to its business, which is keeping people there. It's, wow. It's true. And so it's like, when you think of it that way, it's like, all right, how do I feed the algorithm to make it like me, to get me to get my shit to show up on my avatar's feeds? And I mean, that's the trick. And the trick is, what is it that they're there for? And that's it. And so, dig in. Do you become the aggregator of community content? I mean, that is a hack to me. It's not even really a hack. It just works. I mean, we all love our community. We're all looking for, a place to take our kids for trunk or treat. We're all looking for a place to go get pictures with Santa. We're all looking for the fireworks show. We're all looking for where's the best bar to watch the football game. Those are the kind of things that everybody enjoys consuming. So give it to them. We all, we live life. We raise kids. We have pets. We like to travel. We like to cook. We like to do all these things. So find your things that you're already doing and just, build content around that. I mean, again, I think that, John, the biggest problem is that it's not get rich quick. And this is why so many people vacate it. But when I say that, and then if I ask them, okay, you're right, it's not get rich quick. So what is? So where are you going to go? Where are you going to go and get rich quick? Sure. And they're not going to have an answer for that. They're going to go back to what they were already doing, which also isn't really working for them, because I mean, it's all hard. If it was easy,
everybody would
we'd all be doing the same thing.
I think what I've learned is that you have to do those things like community, listing things in your community, whether it's a restaurant or a new coffee shop or whatever, and sort of add your own personal touch so that people really sort of get to know you. Kiro, I think of our buddy Jazz Takar, his episode. I don't know if you know of him, Jeff. He's real estate investor, team leader, agent in somewhere in Canada. I forget where exactly, but what he would tell us was, he's like, people got to know me through my content and through my video, so that when they booked an appointment with me to come to my office, first of all, they were booking the appointment with me at a time that worked for me in my office to talk about what they needed to do in real estate, which is obviously people would kill for that opportunity. Instead, we're all spending so much time trying to beg people to meet with us. He said they would come in the door and already felt like they knew me. They're like, "Oh, you look just like you do on your videos." And, he's like, and he, what is he, Kiro? Is he Indian, Jazz?
Yeah.
And either way, he's like, we'd cut through that ahead of the time. He's like, and if people looked me up on social and they didn't like me because they were prejudiced or whatever, or I talked, I curse when I talk, or I talk like this. And like we would cut through all that stuff. So he's like, the people that would actually reach out to set an appointment with me already knew what they were getting when they came in. So I don't know. I just, that's sort of been some aha moments for me too, where I'm like, wow, I don't have enough out there where people can get to know me, to know who they're working with before they work with us. So that was just, I think you have to have, and then, so what happens then is if you end up starting to put out content, you have to make sure you're consistent with it, where they're not just basing you now off of 1 or 2 videos, right? You have to, put it out there.
So. Kira, did you have something to say? I didn't want to cut you off.
No.
Okay.
It was a thought, but we can wait.
No, go ahead. I'll hold my thought.
What I was going to say is that the one thing it's hard because it's like we get to speak to so many great guests like yourself, right? And even today with technology and using AI, right? You can go create your avatar, say, hey, I'm looking for someone in their mid to late 30s, early 40s, who's dealing with the current market conditions of XYZ, median income of this, that, and the other, looking to get into real estate. Where are the common issues that are coming up? So that way you could try to find ways to solve those problems to be able to catch the audience. Why is it hard to actually make the time to do it and take action on it?
Ask that question a different way.
So why, with all the technology that's around us right now, like I would say I know what I would need to do, right, to be able to provide valuable content, but it's very difficult to actually take that first step forward. And there could be a million and one excuses. I'm not sure if there's a way that you could get someone out of that bubble and to actually feel like they have to and want to get that ball rolling.
I mean, there's a million. The reasons are plentiful, which is, I don't like how I look. I don't like how I sound. I don't know how. Nobody cares. And, that goes back to the old, I challenge people all the time. I'm like, you should do a A/B test for a week or 2 weeks and do 2 posts a day, every day. One's real estate centric and one is what you ate for breakfast, and see which performs better. Every day, just test it, see what happens. Yeah. We all know the answer, right? But yeah, we don't do it. And so it's like,
that's funny.
And it's true, but it's like, to answer your question, it's like the proof is already in the pudding. Like when I started doing this 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was doing it off of speculation. I think this is going to work. I believe in this. I'm going to do it. Like, you don't really have that excuse anymore. And so now when people, they don't do it, I mean, it's like anything, the best agents and teams that churn leads and execute on leads, they just do it at a higher level. And it's the same ones with SOI. And there was a stat the other day, actually, somebody shared with me that it's like 80 something % of business generated in real estate is SOI. And it's like there's no better way to stay top of mind with them. And it's the proof is already here. Like, you just got to get, I mean, I know it's cliche to say it, but you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And you're not going to get good at doing these things if you don't practice. I didn't start shooting video and was good at it. I said 7 trillion times, and I looked nervous, and I didn't necessarily have great content, and I wasn't necessarily eloquent. I wasn't passionate. I was monotone, all the things. But I was hoping this was going to work. Now, fast forward where I am now, like now I know it works. I can give you countless agents that it's working for, and you're still finding excuses. I mean, the reality is that, maybe 5 to 10% will do this. And that's where the opportunity lies. And so when you're sitting here listening to this, if you're already objecting to everything that I'm saying, like, you're already in your own damn way. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to convince you out of it. And so, what you should do? You should go join a team and join somebody who's either doing all the things I'm describing, because they're going to be a rainmaker for you. Join somebody who's a master lead executor, find something like that, because good luck. And if this whole NAR stuff comes to fruition, and it does hinder what we can make as a buyer's agent, that's going to just put more pressure on becoming a listing agent, and the agent who is getting the most attention is probably going to win. And that's clearly not going to be you, because you're not willing to embrace this stuff. So
Yeah.
the truth is, Hero, those people aren't listening to this anyway, because they've already made an excuse as to why they don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
There.
You know,
I love your
said.
no nonsense approach.
Yeah, no bullshit. Well, and you know, I was going to say something, John, too, about that. Was one of the things I've learned, and I might have mentioned this on the last episode. The reason why because I'm kind of studying, I study my content, I study my competition. So I'll go to TikTok and I'll type in keywords around Lake of the Ozarks, because I want to see who's competing with me, right? And they're not all in real estate. One is a videographer or something like that, and it's a drone. He flies a drone, and his content destroys my content in terms of just sexiness and professionalism. It's awesome. He's way better at flying a drone than I am. But I'm beating him in terms of engagement and followers and growth. And I think the reason is because of that authenticity. I'm beating my real estate counterparts because I'm outposting them. I'm outproducing them. And I'm more raw and real. To your point, I'm not afraid to give my opinion and know that 50% might crucify me for it, but the other 50% is going to grow a stronger affinity for me. And this has definitely changed for me over the years, because we all try to be everything to everyone, and that strategy does not work. The people that I see crushing it the most are the people that leaned into the fact that they're super religious and they talk about it on social. Do I agree with that? Did I stop following a good friend of mine as a result of that? Yes, because it annoyed me. But you know what she did? She attracted her tribe. She's actually with EXP. She's got a downline that's in the hundreds, and she's killing it. And it's like, she just owned who she is. I got another friend who's he wears his political opinion on his sleeve. I do not agree with doing that. But he's dominating because, you know what? He pissed off 50%, but the other 50% now follow him more as a result, and they're more bought into him, and it actually works. And I know that's hard for a lot of us. And that's why, to me, politics and religion are just no-nos. I just don't personally. That's just personal opinion. But I do wear my opinion a little bit more on my sleeve. And so, as an example, I did a video about I usually will share certain news stories that happen at the lake, and one was it got national news. It was a boat ran ashore, flipped over, hit the side of a house. I mean, it was big news. And I gave my opinion, which I got crucified for from some. They're like, who cares? Why do we care what you have to think? Because people are just trolls, right? But yeah, my opinion was, this guy who was driving the boat is an idiot. And some people crucified me for that. Like, you're being too harsh. And I'm like, that's your opinion. Like, he was driving at night. He was going 60 miles an hour, and he had been drinking. If I did that, you have the right to call me an idiot. If my brother or my dad did that, they're idiots. Like, that's stupid. And so I gave my opinion. And of course, the people who agreed with me came hardcore to my defense and agreed with me. And I probably I know I picked up followers, because that one of those videos got 1.8 million views. And I think in the cumulative, I did like multiple update videos. I think in the cumulative, I got 3 to 4 million views on those videos. And it was just because I gave my opinion and shared the news. So,
I couldn't, you were talking about some people that had come on and talked about their religion, and you just didn't care anymore. You stopped, you muted them, or you blocked them, or you stopped following them, whatever it was. I couldn't help to think about how many of our followers, I'll even put myself into it, who are like, oh my God, if this guy keeps talking about this podcast one more time or another real estate thing, they're probably muting me or unfollowing me too. And that's fine. But I think, if you have to flip the switch sometimes, and if you just think, say that you follow somebody who's he's a lawyer right now, right? And he's coming on every day telling you, the most common questions I get from my legal clients are, do I have to pay you up front or later? I would just scan right past that too. I'd be like, you know what? Maybe he stays a little bit top of mind, because like when I need a lawyer, maybe I'll go to him if I like some of it. But if it's constantly just like educating me on stuff that I don't really care to be educated right now, I would pass it up too. or just put anybody in that position. If it's a contractor, a pool contractor, right? He's like, before we line the pool, we dig out the hole. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But now if he caters his content towards something else, just showing me more about, the community or his family or the local spots or whatever it is, stuff that I actually care about more often than I do selling a home, right? Because most people just do that every couple of years, if that. Yeah. Then I think it's more relative and more recent.
And
more relatable.
And by the way, it is important to put that content out there, but that content is still going to be fluffy. It's not going to get engagement. But if you understand that what exactly you just mentioned, an attorney, there's actually a local attorney who is viral on social because they were doing food critiques, and they would, I mean, it was like, I remember one of them, I sucked in, I was watching YouTube long form, 10-15 minute videos, watching them eat cereal and talk about it. And no joke. And then they would, sandwiches, and they were foodies, right? A lot of people are. And they're attorneys. This had nothing to do with what they do for a living. And these guys went viral. I guarantee it probably absolutely helped their business. And because now you're going to stumble upon their Q&A about, do you pay me up front? But now I love you because of your foodie stuff. I might pay attention, and I'm mentally taking a note that I'm definitely going to hire this attorney. And it's the same concept with us as real estate agents. It's like, you got to find a way to get them to like you. And here's what's not going to work. They're not going to like you because you're really knowledgeable at your job. That's an expectation that they don't need you to convince them of. It was somebody, I just interviewed a guy on my podcast yesterday, and he said this line: focus on being more interested than interesting. And the relevance to what we're talking about right now is that I used it in the context of when you're having a conversation with somebody, we as humans have a tendency of cutting people off because we're thinking about what we're going to say in response to what they said. We're not as interested in what they have to say because we want to be interesting. We as real estate agents are super guilty of this. We want to just, we want to take buyers out to homes and vomit our opinion on them without actually being interested in what they think and maybe empathizing with them or agreeing with them, because we want to position ourselves as these experts. And this applies to your social strategy. It's like, if you actually were more interested in what your audience actually cared about, you'd stop talking about real estate because they're not interested in that. You're just trying to be interesting. And it's not interesting. It's just not. They're going to seek that out when they need it, not when you want to give it to them.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think of somebody like whose content I really enjoy, like an Alex Hermosi, right? I think I've probably been like following him on Instagram for, I don't know, 4 years. I think I just subscribed to his YouTube channel, but I've watched him like from afar. But I guess what I'm getting at is I've been following him on Instagram for 4 years. I don't think until his book came out recently, so like within the last couple months, is when I actually really like dove deep like about like what his business is, right? But I was following him and I was influenced by him and I was intrigued by him and I enjoyed his content. And I always knew that he did something with acquisition.com and that was his company and gyms and stuff, but I didn't really dig deeper until later on. But it was because I just enjoyed and I found his content relatable. But I think if he was just talking about acquiring gyms and like, as big as I probably look on camera, digging into the gym business is not like at the top of my list. So if that's all he talked about, I probably would have lost attention a long, long time ago.
Yeah. It's true.
But instead he focuses on mindset and work ethic and all that other stuff that I can relate with.
Well, and you know what? It's dopamine. That's the thing here. And so, going back to what I think we've kind of gone on tangents here. But as you talk about using social for prospecting, I always remind people, like, when you post a video on social and that video performs well, you become obsessed with that post for a while. And I know this because I always watch my wife, who does not post. She posts on social like a consumer, for her own, self, like, or she's sharing our kids or whatever, right? She's not selling anything. And so, but I always know this because whenever a post goes viral, I hear about it for at least a week. Oh my God, honey, the post at 500 views. The post is at 1,000. Oh my God, it's at 5,000. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't care, but I'm just like listening and watching her excitement over this stuff. Why? Because she's got that feel good hormone going on. It's called dopamine. And so here we are as a industry giving people the whatever the opposite of dopamine is by cold calling them, texting them, emailing them, door knocking on them, all the things that annoy them. And we have this ability to go to social, stalk them. And so this is a part of a strategy. This would be a prospecting strategy. Go to social, have your A to Z list. We all know this, right? You have your list of all of your past clients, your SOI, your prospective clients, A to Z list every single day. A through D, and then E through whatever, and then go so on. And every week you're going through this list, you're checking these people. First of all, you're making sure that you're connected on social. Second of all, you're just going to see if they posted recently. For them, this is not going to probably take you more than 20 minutes a day because most people don't post that consistently, right? But when they do post, show up. They're noticing, and it feels good because they don't post that often. They're just like my wife. And I guarantee if I asked her on those posts, like who's all commented, she could probably name every single person by name because it resonates with her. And so, again, we have this opportunity to stay super top of mind with these people, meeting them where they want to be met, hitting them with that dopamine. What do you think that's doing? It's making them a raving fan of ours and they don't even realize it, and not to mention, so I'll go back to your question, John. How could I use this as a more aggressive sales tool? There's your answer. Go spend some time hitting people with dopamine, then make very specific calls to them to touch base, whatever it is. And you remind them what you do for a living, and they're going to receive it a hell of a lot better. And they don't even realize why, because they already have a good feeling about you now. And because we all know, it's like when we close a transaction and we stay in touch with our past clients and maybe we call them every 6 months, our customers know why we're calling. We don't really care what's going on in their life. Let's be honest. We just want to stay top of mind with them. And so there's just a better way to do it. And that's one of the ways to do it.
So is it okay to go back and like their posts from like 3 or 4 years ago, or is that creepy?
I think that's a little creepy.
Gotcha.
I've actually, though, so they don't care. I love it when people do that to me because it's like restoking a post because it brings it back to the top. But I'm a freak about social, so I get excited about that kind of stuff. But the average consumer is not. They're going to probably look at it like, oh God, they've been scrolling, they've been stalking the hell out of me. If they're not active on social, don't force the envelope. Just because they're not posting, though, doesn't mean they're not actively consuming. And so, that's why you want to keep posting. But that's why this is a 20-minute strategy a day. It's 20 minutes. It's not, stop scrolling for 20 minutes and go be intentional about what you're doing. I know everybody's wasting so much time every single, you know how it is. If I didn't know any better, I'd think real estate agents are the busiest people on the planet, but I do know better. And I know they just think they're the busiest people on the planet. They're not really.
Yeah. So
kind
true.
of harsh. You would think I'd lose a lot of followers because I'm really kind of a dick to real estate agents, but because I'm in the business, I can say it because I've been spending so much time with them for 23 years. And I'm one of them. I live it. I breathe it. I know it. It's the same with mortgage, same with loan officers. We're all the same.
Yeah.
But
no, that's golden. I don't know who mentioned this, but they were saying if you go onto Facebook, Facebook tells you the birthdays, right? So then you would be able to send like videos if you wanted to make it more personalized approach even for their birthdays. So that way it's like they're appreciating it, although they might not 100% know you, but it's definitely great for past clients, COI. That'd be a great way to reignite that relationship or to create a relationship there.
Funny story. I do that, by the way. I did that. I still do. I use Facebook as I check it every day. I do it for 2 reasons. One, because I want to send greetings to my, my VIPs, you could call them. And because I want to also clean my Facebook to keep myself under 5,000 so I can add the right people. So I'm getting rid of people that I don't know or recognize are not in my business. But in 2017, this is no joke, 2017, I made a commitment because this is when I was really building my brand as a video guy. I took the time to the VIP people, my employees, my customers, my family. I would see when it was their birthday, I'd shoot a quick video on my phone. I might do a slight, this is my iMovie days. So the very basic editing, I would add happy birthday, John. I would add your name to it so they knew it was personal. And I would text them about a 15-second personal video. And it was never the canned, hey, happy birthday. It was happy birthday, John. I hope your wife, and if I know her name, I said her name. Like I made it personal. I hope she's got something special planned for you. If I knew them really well, I mean, some of my closest friends, I would do it like while I was sitting on the toilet just to make it super, awkward and impersonal.
Yeah.
But I did this for 1 year, and still to this day, here we are in almost 2024, people comment or message me and be like, where's my video? And I think to myself, that was 6 years ago. You're still talking about the one video I sent you. Like, Kira, that is so underrated. And like, if you're the agent who's saying happy birthday on their Facebook feed, stop. Like, that is
how
like
about, how about happy birthday with the balloons? No.
Oh my God. Or HBD. God, please don't. But here's the point.
I don't have enough time.
You're doing, yeah. God, don't get me started.
Type the whole thing out. Yeah.
You're doing though, but you're showing up in a diluted place where everybody else is showing up. Everybody does it on their feet. At the very worst, send them a DM. But man, Kiro, you're so right. Freaking send them a video and make it personal. Dude, I hate it when I get a video and I know it is the same video that's getting sent to everybody else.
Yeah.
That actually backfires on me because it pisses me off. I'm like, you couldn't take the time to just say, hey, Jeff, like 15 seconds. Come on.
So I want to make sure I have that right. You send the video, you record, you find out their birthday through Facebook and then you text it to them, or you send it through the Facebook Messenger.
You could go either way. I personally prefer to text because I want to get as personal as possible. And not everybody's checking Facebook Messenger too. So some of that stuff gets lost and never gets seen. And so
I got a good story about that. There was an agent that I met through our coaching program. Akira, I think I told you this. And I don't know what it was. I didn't check Facebook Messenger for, I think when I got more and more involved in Instagram, I just stopped checking. I would go on Facebook, but not in Messenger. Anyway, this one other agent, probably in hopes to get referral business. I didn't know him that well, but 4 years in a row, he had sent me the happy birthday video from his office. But I didn't see any of them. I guess I didn't have the notifications on. All I know is that the one day I decided to clean up Messenger, I opened it up. I had 4 straight videos from him, and he just looked obviously like older in each video. But he was consistent, man, and wishing me a happy birthday through Facebook Messenger, recorded, personalized video each and every year. And I've told that story a couple of times, so I'm still telling it.
If you send videos to your consumers, they will be tickled. I remember, and people still say this, like people will respond, and then here we are in almost 2024. Oh my gosh, you're the only person that sent me a video. And it blows me away because it's like, I was telling people to do this 7 years ago. And it's like, it's still here we are. You still have so much opportunity. It's such a simple technique that does not take a lot of time, but will resonate and mean something to them.
And I'll give you another one too. Like we were talking about doing this obviously for people in your Facebook group or your database, your SOI. I remember when we invited, I first followed Brooks Landry, who was another one of our podcast guests. He does some stuff. He's based out, I think he's in San Diego.
San Francisco, I think.
Yeah, definitely West Coast, California. Yep. He's with Real Brokerage.
Yep.
When I first followed him and started engaging with him in hopes of having him on the podcast, in which he ended up doing, when I first followed him, he replied with a video, and he's like, "Hey, John, Brooks Landry here. So grateful for the follow. Like, thank you so much. I'm hoping that we can collaborate or engage in the future." And it probably was a 30-second video. And I just thought it was like super thoughtful and outside the box. And I remember thinking like, shit, like I want to save this or record, like just to show Kiro, like, just because it was just like such a nice thing to do. So it doesn't necessarily. Who's that?
Ed Stulak.
Yeah.
Ed, he's up in your market ish.
Yeah. Ed's more like Central Jersey, but we had him on the podcast. Another great Jersey guy. He's also with Real. So maybe it's a real thing. I don't know. But
well, no, he was doing it when he was with Remax. So
Yeah. It's yeah, so it doesn't necessarily have to be to just people in your database. It could be to other agents, people who are just following you on Instagram, people you want to follow you on Instagram. I don't know. I mean, we
Yeah.
were trying to get podcast guests, and I was sending people videos. I was like, you know what? I just saw you speak at this X, Y, and Z event, because I think if I got a DM, I'd be like, what the hell is this? Somebody just sent me a video, and I'd probably watch it and like sort of think I was maybe getting a virus, but also be like curious about what the hell was this about. And I think it's a nice touch, in my opinion.
I've got a loan officer who actually he claims to be dumb. He's actually a really top producer, but he's like, it's actually way more efficient for me to send bomb videos and send videos than it is for me to type an email or type a message, because I'm probably going to misspell a word. I'm going to have bad grammar. So it's actually way more efficient for me just to send videos. And that dude sends hundreds of videos every single month, and it's just his jam. And he's also, ironically, a top 10 producer in the company that he works for. So it's like, does one go with the other? I think so.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I know Brooks was sharing like one of the hacks with the algorithm. If you send a video, then you're going to be coming up on the top of, their lists. Like your stories will be coming up on the top, so they'll be able to consume more of your content and engage with you more. So that it helps you
Yeah,
ultimately as well when you're doing
that's
that.
true.
So going the extra mile does help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that, by the way, that does apply to just engagement in general. Because remember the science behind the algorithm. If I go to your post, John, and comment something, you're going to like my comment, probably comment back. The algorithm simply sees, okay, they must
Two of
like
us.
each other.
Yeah.
Now Jeff's post, I'm going to show it high on John's feed. It may not continue if you don't continue to engage with me, but it hacks it in the short term.
Yeah.
And it also works in reverse. Like if I want someone to continually show up on my feed just because I like their stuff, or I'm just teaching the algorithm, show me this person because they're a VIP for me and I want to make sure I'm always showing them love. I'm just teaching the algorithm, even if I'm not interested in their post, I just give it love to tell the algorithm, keep showing me this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's way more science behind it than people give it credit. We just haven't actually stopped to think about it. We just do the monkey see, monkey do. And we didn't realize that the monkeys that we're following are actually doing it all wrong. It's
Yeah.
really,
I think
it's a harsh word.
my biggest takeaway is going to follow everybody, like all my past clients in COI that I do not have. I think that's the biggest mistake of not being present and not looking for that. So that's going to be my assignment, honestly, for this week. So I
And
appreciate you sharing that.
one more, Kiro, going forward, every time that you have a meet with a new customer, and yeah, definitely if you're signing an agency agreement, buyers, sellers, you're asking them for their personal information. You're in some cases it's just you're asking for their contact info, but in overachiever's case, you're asking for their anniversary, you're asking for their birthday, you're asking for their pet names, you're asking for their sports teams. Right? That's what an overachieving agent does. Why? Because they want to get to know people. Why are we not immediately in the moment saying, hey, where do you spend time on social? Instagram, cool. Let's go follow each other right now. You're on Facebook. Awesome. I have this Facebook group for my past customers and clients. Why don't you go join it right now? What are they going to tell you? No, of course not. They're going to do it. And then guess what's going to happen? You're just pulling them into your web. And I don't know why the industry brokers don't teach this stuff as like it needs to be a non-negotiable. Every time you meet with a client, get them into your social web, because all you're doing is pulling them into an organic CRM that will keep you top of mind with them without them getting annoyed with you putting them in a real CRM.
Yeah.
Or put out enough content that's how you met them, was through that platform. So you don't even need to ask them for it.
Also, yeah. Well, I still would. I don't ever take it for granted. You know what I mean? It's like anytime I want somebody in my sphere, I'm not going to assume because it is so diluted anymore. 5-6 years ago, it could have more organically happened. Today, it's getting a lot harder. But also, the last thing I'll say on that too is like when you're sitting at home and your wife's talking about a purse, and then the next time she opens up Instagram, of course, a purse ad pops up, right? We all know this phenomena, right? The same thing happens with us people. And so it's like when you're meeting people and having conversations with people, these things are listening to us. And then ironically, so it's just another validation and reason why you should be consistently posting, because what's going to end up happening is when you're doing your cold calls, when you are door knocking, when you're meeting people at networking events, and they go to open up social later that day, ironically, you're going to show up if you're creating consistent content, and just
That's golden.
put you higher up. Yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. We really do appreciate you spending some time with us today. It's I knew it would be impactful, but I'm glad we went deep on some of those topics. I think it does help people who are maybe struggling to either get started with social or struggling with more ideas on how to add value and how to create content, and just add that to their business. And I think what I've learned here is that, you can sprinkle it in and it doesn't have to take up, your whole day. Mm-hmm. And, and my wheels start spinning too. Like a lot of us use virtual assistants. We have virtual assistants on our team. You can have virtual assistants set up the platforms for you, right? Like I wouldn't necessarily have a virtual assistant, artificially comment on clients. That seems to me a little bit too like curated, like the engagement. But there's nothing that I don't think there's anything wrong with having a virtual assistant go into your platform and find your clients and just friend them all, right? And then you do the engagement. So there's a lot of it that you can really take off of your plate and make sure that you're connected with everybody in your sphere. So.
And I want to say this because you mentioned that, and you guys probably know this, but I don't know if all your audience does. If you do that, because I do the same thing, like let's just say you create a Facebook group and your VA runs the group and posts in the group, make sure they set up a page that is your name. They're an admin of that page. So then when they're posting to the group, it looks like you're posting to the group, not, Rosie Valdez. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. And so that's very important. A lot of people don't take that step, and then it is the VA posting and your audience thinks it's a spam, and they're quickly, the group dies really fast. So make sure you take that extra step.
The only thing I do want to share, just so that way people understand how important it is when you said it, it's you being prospecting through social media. It doesn't have to be necessarily the content creating part of it, but it is making people feel important. And we do that on phone calls all the time. So MMFI, make me feel important. So when we're doing that on a call and we're saying, oh, you're so smart for doing that. If I was to say that in an audience of people and saying, you're so smart, now they feel like, oh my God, he made me feel like a rock star. And you're basically doing that with what you recommend to do. So I think that's by far like the most golden thing that you could possibly take action on right away, even if you are camera shy, or even if you don't like the way you look or the way you sound. And that's just valuable. So this is awesome. I appreciate you sharing it. And I hope people take action on it right away.
Yeah, same.
Like, look at Kirill. You probably didn't like how your hair looked today, so you wore that hat, but you still got out here, right?
This is a preference. I look like this by choice.
Well, you busted my chops with the shoes, so I had to think of something.
Fair enough. I appreciate you doing that.
Good.
So that's how you know. That's how you know you guys are boys, man. I love
it. And Jeff, what's the best way for someone to reach out and connect?
Social. You couldn't have guessed it. Yeah, just go DM me on social. I'm always checking my Facebook Messenger and Instagram DM. So, go follow. I'm going to teach you something. I'm always just sharing a lot of value. And honestly, I share a lot of my life. So if you want to get to know who I am, you're going to get to know me real well. I share it. So everything I do is to inspire and to build my own brand and business. So literally just go emulate what I'm doing. It works. And if you need help, shoot me a DM. I'm happy to help.
Sweet. Yeah. We'll add the link to Jeff's social on the description below. So if you want to check it out, click on it from there and comment and let us know how you think about this. Yeah.
If they're just listening to the audio version, what is your handle again?
That's my name. So it's @Jeff. You can find me as @Jeff Pfitzer on every platform. So it's last name looks like Pfizer, but it's not. There's a T in there and it's pronounced Pfitzer. So it's Pfitzer. So Jeff Pfitzer, you'll find me on every platform. I'm technically Lake of the Ozarks Lifestyle on TikTok, but you'll find me by my name as well. That, by the way, is a tip. Like try to make your name on every social platform the same. Make it easy to find you. Don't try to get too cute. That doesn't work. Be who you are.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well,
this has been great.
Well, thank you again.
Absolutely, fellas. Thanks for having me, man.
Take care.
All right.
I guess we're good. Jeff.
Cool. Holler if I can do
Later,
anything
brother.
more, man. Happy to help.
Will do, man.
See ya.
Appreciate you. Later.
Bye bye.